I get that 45 minutes after a big dinner and 150 drinks is a really long time. Particularly when you now can't check your mobile phones and PDAs. So I can see that a few of you are going to start ducking off in about 6 minutes to try and do that in the men's room. But what I'd like to do is break this into two different bits tonight. I want to talk to you for about 20 minutes on some of the things that I've picked up over the last 20 years in business and the 10 different companies that I've owned in different categories, in technology and fast food and real estate and all sorts of different weird things. And then I want to actually put you to work.
He's got a fabulous teaching style. I think he finds common ground with his audience very quickly. He connects with them, he entertains them, and yet he gets them to actually act.
The real wealth is created in business in times of economic doom and gloom, when you can look at it and face it as an opportunity, not an obstacle. That's when we create wealth for ourselves in business, not when the sun's shining and things are great. Because see, the sun's shining and things are great for everybody during those times. So of course, all of your competitors are doing exactly the same thing. They're making great money, having a great time, living large, and you're all forgetting about the inevitable crash, because it will come.
The business content was very relevant for today's environment.
There will be an economic shift somewhere down the track, 7, 8, 9 years' time. Our challenge today is to learn from the last 2 years that we've gone through this cycle and make our businesses so resilient that the next time it comes through, we are so far in front of our competitors that we have this fantastic opportunity to create wealth, because that's what makes a difference.
Succinct and to the point.
Big fan.
What I learned in '96 was I had 4 basic bad beliefs, 4 things that were stopping me from creating a great company. Now, I had a good company, I had a bunch of good companies that were making reasonable money, but they weren't great companies. They were kind of sort of maybe companies. The first basic bad belief I thought I had, and since proved, was that I don't have enough time.
Really connected for me on a personal level on the things that I need to change.
I believe if you're in business, you're in business. Whether you're on or in it, who cares? I don't care if you're under it, you're still in business. What I'd like you to be more focused on is how you can be more business fit, how you can be more mind fit, how you can work on yourself in order for you to work on your business. And I had this conversation when I was speaking at the Gold's Gym conference only a week or so ago. You know, I said to the crowd of 1,000 gym junkies, I said, if I came to you, as I should, and say, look, I'm about 15 pound overweight, I think I am, I'm not quite sure, but I know I wobble when I run. That can't be good. You know, I've got pecs that are turning into man boobs, I've got a six-pack turning into a keg, and I've got love handles that look like Lucky Tracks. This is not good. So if I went to you as a gym junkie in Gold's Gym, and you said to me, you would say to me, I need to do 2 things. I need to commit time and money. Money to join the gym, time to go to the gym and actually make a difference to myself. So why wouldn't we do exactly the same thing to ourselves in our business to make us business fit, to make our minds fit? In '96, I learned I had to try and find 30 minutes a day to try and condition myself to build a better me in order for me to build a better business. And that required me to stop for 30 minutes sometime during the day, not necessarily to work on it, but just to work on me. And the simplicity of that was I thought to myself, well, I've got to try and categorise things in my head because there's too much stuff going on.
Really made me step back and take a look at myself and what I'm trying to accomplish with my franchisees.
I thought Troy was outstanding.
I'm so glad I took the time out tonight to come and see him and hear him. He's so inspirational. He rocks for small business.
So I said, okay, I'm going to divide it into 3 buckets. Simple Australian boy, I use big words. 3 buckets. First thing is, what can I influence today? What can I influence today, being the operative word? What am I going to shift, move, change, rearrange, rework, repurpose today? What have I influenced already and enough and need to set aside? I've influenced all these things in the business. I need to set them aside and just see what comes of it. You know, I've created these new processes. I've done these new things. Let's just see how they go. And what can't I influence today? What I just simply cannot do anything about that. And we get bogged down in this one in particular because it's drama. And as humans, we get sucked into this drama.
Franchisors are always looking at ways to increase business, and he got to the core of what it takes to be a good business owner and got down to the real heart and soul of the personal experience of why people get in business in the first place, and I just think that's so valuable.
I'd built these companies from a standing start. I was really excited about my advertising business in particular. Standing start in year 1 of $250,000 turnover, $6.5 million by year 3. So I was pretty happy about that. But I didn't really know why, other than more equaled more. More revenue equaled I could get a faster car, or I could buy that race car I really wanted, or I could, you know, sit at the front of the bus where they give you better booze in the back of the bus. that was not a real purpose for me. So I sat down and I said, well, I don't want to get in this spot again, so I'm going to have to work out how I can be a little bit more focused on what my vision looks like, because without vision, I can't possibly lead people. And particularly in a time like this, we get caught up in what's important here. And you know, my race driver instructor, because I'm an amateur motorsport guy, I got a race car in Australia I get back to infrequently. I was telling him the story about how I think I might need more vision in my business. He said, well, you need more vision in your driving too, because you suck. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, you're worried about the accident. You're watching the bumper bar of the race car in front of you. You're worried about not hitting that bumper bar. And I said, well, of course I am, because he's in front of me. I'm doing 150 mile an hour. He said, no, I want you to look 3 and 4 turns down the track. That's how you're going to win the race. Stop trying to avoid the accident and start focusing on winning the race. He said, that's what you need to do on the track, and maybe that's what you need to do in your business. So it makes perfect sense. He said, because, you know, think about it. If you don't know where you're going and what you're doing, how are these guys going to know behind you? If you're not focused enough, the car behind you is going to smack you too, because you're going to be all over the track. You're going to be erratic and doing things that's following the next bright, shiny object that comes in front of you. He said, get focused. So I went away and took a bit of that advice, and I sat and reflected on my experience from '96. I said, okay, I've got to try and put myself, working on me, in a better position, a better plan.
I've been involved in franchising for well over 20 years and probably heard hundreds of franchise speakers in a variety of different contexts, in small meetings, in larger groups and whatever. And I got to tell you, Troy ranks at the top. He just made a connection with the group that was so instantaneous that, to me, the message came across loud and clear.
Then I drew a line across the page and said, well, that's the stuff in life that's important. I've got to keep remembering that. It's not about more equals more, it's about enough is enough. Because if it's more equals more, then your business starts to drive you, you're not driving it. Then below that I said, well, okay, then my business has to help me pay for some of these things up here I've identified as being important. So I worked out my business is purely my economic driver to help pay for the stuff in life that's important. And below that I thought, well, okay, that's cool, but there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire, so I've got to work out a people plan to engage those around me, for many of you franchisees, staff, whatever, to help me achieve these financial goals to pay for the things in life that are important. Now, the significant shift for me on this was, all of a sudden, there was purpose behind the business I was owning. There was purpose behind me getting up every day. I had a reason to do it. There was not an infinite end, which was 10 million next year, 15 the year after, or 100 outlets, I've got to have 500 outlets. Really? Why? Have you thought about that? Just because 500 sounds better at a function like this, when you walk in and say, yeah, well, I've got 4,000 franchisees. How many you got, John? 4,000.
I love the energy.
Yeah, great energy and very intuitive and kind of a deep thinker, which is, it's nice, it's refreshing.
Been there, done that. You know, he's lived it. He's walked the walk.
Interestingly, by taking a number of weeks off and literally sitting on a beach and trying to work this stuff out, I became far more in tune with me. And by becoming more in tune with me, I became a better leader because I had a place to go. And by me having a place to go, I had a place to take others.
Introspective.
Troy's style is really lively on stage, and his blend of comedy and his Australian accent really makes it a pleasure to listen to him.
Now, any franchisor in this room, I dare you to tell me that you have not had a franchisee come up to you at some stage in your career and say, yeah, but you don't get it. It's different for me in my area. That marketing plan's not going to work. I guarantee you it won't work. Because my customers are different. They're taller in my area. Hey? Now, we laugh at that, but I'm going to challenge each and every one of you. How many of you have sat in a room like this with your peers, with the smart guys, and not absorb the information from the conversation you're having because of your belief that it's different for you in your category? No, serious. I'm going to put it on you because we'll laugh at our franchisees and we'll want to stab them with a pen when they come and tell us that. But really, how often do you open up sufficiently with your peers beside you and share with the belief that it's not different for you, that you are actually absorbing the information and not discarding it as you are hearing it?
I thought he did a great job because all of a sudden he turned around and said to all these tables in the room, you guys got 5 minutes to talk amongst yourselves to come up with some conclusions. In most cases, Not in Troy's case, he'd have hit dead silence, and people would have just sat there and gone, yeah, I'm going to go to the men's room, or I'm going to have a drink. Nope, I looked around, all the tables were engaged, so he's got some magnetism if he can actually get people to do something when he asks.
I'm coming after you, I am. Come on! What are you going to change? What are you going to change? What are you going to change? Right, sharing openly. They're being vulnerable. I've got to do this. Come on, Brian, what are you going to change? Round of applause. So, here's the significance. You guys talk for 5 minutes, you come up with some fantastic ideas. 5 minutes. Because you get a little bit closer to each other.
I've been to many franchise events, and I got to say, Troy is a great speaker. After a long meal, and we want to network, he kept our attention. He was very energetic, enthusiastic, and I actually had plans of not sticking around, but I couldn't not stick around.
I want the thing that's going to change me, that's going to, the magic bullet, much like all of us look for. We're in a recession. Give me the way out of this. Give it to me. And he said, well, mate, it's pretty simple. We run our business on 3 words: change, or die. Change or die. And I said, okay, I think I understand that. This is pretty harsh, but I understand it. Good, what else? And he said, you don't get it. You asked me for the gem, I've given you the gem, this is the gem. 3 words, change or die. And even before I got that next, sentence out, he said, I'm done, I'm leaving you. That's the lesson. I'm going to bed. Left me at the bar. So I go up to my room in Tokyo. It's 2 in the morning. I'm standing there in the dark, looking over the city, thinking to myself, I change. No, I don't. I hadn't changed a damn thing in a decade. A decade. I hadn't changed a thing. Because I'd listened to these great speakers and listened to this great information from my peers, but not really do anything with it. Because I go back to my old belief systems. Now, the best thing that happened to me was speaking with him the night before I walked into a firestorm. Because if I hadn't had that lesson before I got off the plane in Sydney, I could well have had a business that went bankrupt. Fortunately for me, we learned our lesson. We didn't go broke. We went on and powered through to make it a great company and lead a reasonably happy life in business for the next decade. So if there's nothing that you've got from me tonight, please take away these 3 words. If you want to truly future-proof your business, then remember, to do that, you've got to change or die. Thanks for your time.